Hi, writers. We are going to learn about finding and testing thesis statements today. We're setting up our claim and supports for our literary essay. So today I want to teach you that literary essayists try different thesis statements or claims before finding the one that best fits what they want to say. First, they ask, what is a big idea I'm seeing in the story? And then, how can I support this idea throughout the whole text? So how can I show that this big idea is true to the text? Finally, they outline their essay using their thesis and supports with boxes and bullets. So we're going to do a lot of planning of our essay today. All right, so a thesis statement is another way of saying our claim. It's our claim or the big idea that our whole essay will be about. And we need to find ideas about our text like we did with our close reading before we wrote. And those ideas can be about a character or about themes and lessons learned in the text. So one type of thesis statement would be character focused, and we might say the character is, and then use a character trait to describe the character. Could say the character learns, and then say a lesson that the character learns throughout the story. And then we could say the text teaches, or the text is really about, and then name a theme that is developed in the story. So those are the different types of thesis statements we can write. Now for our text, Fly Away Home, I decided to do one that's about a theme or a life lesson. And after reading the story closely, I noticed that a life lesson that Andrew learns is the importance of never giving up. So I'm going to take that theme and I'm going to write a thesis statement right up here. I'm going to use boxes and bullets in a few minutes, but I'm going to write my thesis statement here. And the thesis statement I wrote is the text Fly Away Home by Eve Bunting teaches us not to give up, even when life seems really hard. So this is what my whole essay is going to be about. Each paragraph is going to have to show why this statement is true, how the text teaches us not to give up, even when life seems really hard. All right, so I have my thesis, but now I need to ask myself, like we said, how do I know this is true? And I need to look for some supports. So supports are either different parts of the story, ways, characters, or reasons that show our thesis that the text teaches us not to give up, even when life seems really hard, is true. And I want to write those ways, characters, or reasons in the boxes here. And those will later become the topic sentence of each of my sentences for each of my paragraphs. So I noticed that Eve Bunting taught that we should not give up even when life seems really hard through several different characters in the book. So my supports are going to be character-based. One of those characters is Andrew, our narrator. So I wrote that she teaches us not to give up through Andrew. So I'll have a paragraph about how Andrew teaches us not to give up. She teaches us not to give up through Andrew's dad. So I'm going to have another paragraph about how Andrew's dad teaches us not to give up. And finally, I noticed that she teaches us not to give up with the help of a small bird. So I will have a paragraph about how the bird teaches us not to give up. So I wrote each support in my boxes here, knowing that this is what the paragraphs will be focused on. One paragraph focused on Andrew and how he teaches us not to give up. One paragraph focused on Andrew's dad and how he teaches us not to give up. And finally, a paragraph focused on the bird and how that the bird teaches us not to give up, even when life seems really hard. We didn't fill out our bullet points yet because we're going to work to collect evidence through details. All right. So today we learned to write a thesis statement or a claim for our literary essay. Our claim can be about a character. It can be about a life lesson the character learns. A life lesson or theme in the story. We then learned that we can outline what our essay will look like with the different ways to support that thesis statement there That can be ways, parts of the story, characters, or reasons that show our thesis is true. And a boxes and bullets outline will really help us plan our essay. So now it's your turn to find and test some thesis statements. You're going to write 2 to 3 possible thesis statements about your text using your close reading notes as a guide. And remember that your thesis statement needs to apply to the whole story, that your supports need to go through the whole story. And you're going to use boxes and bullets to outline the supports for each thesis statement. So you should have 3 boxes and bullets organizers by the end of writing today.